for the first half. So Great Britain in white on the right, New Zealand on the left. Dennis Williams, long one. And Clive Sullivan, who is the captain of the Great Britain team and is the first possession, and the man that lots of the French people are wanting to see, is big Phil Lowe. Brian Lockwood, talking to the New Zealanders just before the start of the match, they were wondered about the forward strength of the Kiwis. Good one down into fullback John Wilson. To fullback Paul Charlton. And Charlton loves to run. He doesn't kick very much at all. He loves to run, and did this so well against the Australians. John Wilson, good tackle there on Charlton, fullback to fullback. Halfway line. Steve Nash. And David Jeans, who was out of the second match because of injury. David Jeans, prop forward, plays with Leeds in England. This is the first possible burst. John Walsh, and and Atkinson dropped it. John Atkinson missed a sitter, and Phil Orchard was a recovery there, but this was the first chance gone. So no score at the start of this World Cup match in poor place, which is very near to the Pyrenees. Beautiful sunshine, bad weather in England, I gather. I don't know, of course, what it's like in New Zealand. Oh, and Nichols in for a try, straight from the base of the scrum. Straight from the base of the scrum, George Nichols went in, picked the ball up, and went straight in without a hand. Here it comes up again. New Zealand went back, and then they all spread out, but the way figure in white, George Nichols' witness went in. There was a tail-end tackle, but that's all it was, a tail-end tackle, and a clear try from the base of the scrum. 3 minutes, and we've been playing only 2 minutes, so three points in 2 minutes, and New Zealand not settling at the moment. Kicker John Holmes playing a stand-up half for his first World Cup match. And it's a go. So Grand Britain 5 points, New Zealand 0. Well, that's not a very bright start for the Kiwis, who seem to be fanning away from that scrum. I got a scrum half, Graham Cooksley, with me. Graham, what about that try?
Well, it was a good try. The ball came out. It was a quick play, the ball, and Nichols was able to scoop the ball up. He saw the gap, and he was through right beside the post for an easy kick for John Holmes.
Thank you, Graham Cooksley, who's not playing. I remember him as a great player on the last tour, but it's the strength now of Great Britain with Chris Escoth in the middle. Very accomplished professional side out today. Phil Lowe. Britain, of course, with a place certain in the final, naturally a little bit happy at the situation, but they might have thoughts on whether they were likely to get injured or not. Back for the kick. John Holmes. And it, well, I thought it hit the lime on the ground there, but the referee took the touch judge's instructions, and it's a scrum down 10 yards inside. Great Britain on the white. Number 10 is Brian Lockwood, captain of Castleford. Dennis Williams trying to find position. Charlton bouncing awkwardly. It could bounce well for Whittaker, but it's found right for Charlton. Whittaker missed him. And Paul Charlton, who plays with Salford in England, a Cumbrian by birth. There are plenty of gaps here if they can let the ball come out. Steve Nash, and the fourth tackle coming up. Not 6 tackles, 4 tackles, and 1 point, of course, for a drop goal. John Walsh. John Walsh has got a man inside him, and the man inside him, without any doubt, is John Holmes. And a good try, good break indeed by John Walsh to John Holmes. Stand of half, full-back or centre for Leeds. 5 minutes gone. With the score 8 points to nil. Here it comes. Walsh did very well. He pushed a couple off, a strong run in centre, and went through the defensive gap. And Holmes had the sense to go in very quickly. A beautiful pass with the Kiwis defence really split wide open. And being chased by Brian Tracy, taken by Murray Eade, but taken too late over the try line. So Britain, quite a bright start in bright sunny weather here in Pau in France. Holmes the kicker. And it's double figures on to make Great Britain 10, New Zealand 0. Well, just quickly going through the New Zealand team playing in their last match on this tour. They've got some experienced players like Breton and Christian in the middle. And I know they were very keen to avoid the bottom dog, as it were, position. But a 10 points deficit so soon in the game must put a little bit of heart into Great Britain if it was needed. And here comes the captain, Clive Sullivan. Well taken. Good tackle indeed by loose forward Gurnick. Vic Stevenson, the hooker, who's had a very good World Cup. Phil Loader, the man that everybody had been talking about, taken by Murray Eade with his sweat bandage on. A chance for John Whittaker. What a great time he's going to score to pass to France. He could gain on this one, but he's in for a try, and what a beautiful try it was scored by John Whittaker. I saw him score in a beautiful try in Salford in the last tour, and that was a gem. It was a bad mistake by Great Britain. The kick was not full of purpose at all, but it's still got to be scored. And I thought that Clive Sullivan might have taken him. There was a cover defence going across, but a beautiful right hand off, shot out of a tackle, and although Escott came in, Whittaker was over. So that must put some heart into New Zealand as John Wilson takes the kick. With the police watching on. Flag down, no goal. So 10 points to 3, some in this first half, so there's plenty of action in this match. Three tries. Steve Nash to restart. John Wilson getting quite a lot of work to do, both in attack and defence. And Murray's a good, strong, what we call a rangy forward, tackled by his opposite 11, Phil Lowe. Don Mann had a good World Cup, good solid forward, quite a bit of a tussle with the Australians, but he came out of it well. It's an awkward up and under by Dennis Williams. And that in trouble, but John Walsh recovered well. John Walsh, Atkinson twice taken the ball and twice dropped it. Nash showing the ball. Oh, it's got a bounce right. It has done for Sullivan. Too many black and white Kiwis, and Whittaker recovering to take his opposite. I was asking about some of the West Coast boys, represented by Tom Coll in this team. In this particular case, it was Phil Orchard who dropped it. Ground in good condition, plenty of green grass. 10 minutes gone in the first half in this World Cup. And Great Britain just... well, that was actually, there was a penalty to New Zealand. I think it might have been better to let play go on, but it's going to give a kick for touch. Dennis Williams, the kicker. He was one who impressed me and a lot of people in England last year. Dennis Williams, 19 years of age. Bright future before him in rugby league football. And it's 25-yard line. Orchard using the good purposeful move there to Gailey. And with the scoreline and 10. David Jeans. Paul Charlton. Phil Orchard. Oh, beautiful run by Orchard. And getting the first real applause from the French crowd, who are very sporting, even though they've nothing to do with this match other than pure partisanship. Roy Christian had a good captain spot on the tour. Murray Eade, Dennis Williams. So Great Britain now, having had a fairly good start, now coming back into have a lot of defensive work, with the Kiwis now showing some signs of method. Murray trying to take his own up and under. He's certainly taking Paul Charlton. Paul Charlton, one of the rare occasions that he kicks, to John Wilson. Had a very good training run yesterday, did the Kiwis. Midway between the halfway line and the 25-yard line as Brayton, who is a police constable, I believe, in Christchurch. Is that right, Graham? Christchurch. Graham Cooksley, the bright New Zealand half-back, not playing today. After half-time, we'll hear his comments from a New Zealand point of view, and especially for New Zealand viewers who have taken this match. Steve Nash to John Holmes. John Holmes going round in a circle, but coming out the right way. John Walsh. Oh, this should be it. Oh, Charlton, I thought, has gone the wrong way. He had Atkinson outside him and lost possession. Probably under confidence in Tom Cole. The West Coaster did the good work for the Kiwis there. Dunman and Doug Gailey. And the hooker, Bill Burr, going with Murray playing the ball. Threw back to Tracy, 28-year-old scrum half. From Ponsonby. So, just reminding you of the score with 15 minutes gone, 10 points to Great Britain, 3 to New Zealand. And penalty for offside by Great Britain, standing within the 5 yards. But this is the thing that Great Britain have been penalised for a number of times in this World Cup series. Dennis Williams found it with a very high ball. Plenty of green grass at this time of year, November, but very good weather indeed. For the second is good. Phil Orchard taking the second tap. Phil Orchard trying to make the break through. New Zealand now doing most of the attack in a little short one. Paul Charlton has plenty of time, but it seems to take an awful long time. This is right, the way he likes to go within the middle, but it's taken by Dennis Williams, and a good take. That was a good tackle, and they got possession by Murray, and it's given New Zealand a chance for Orchard, but Johnny turned inside. 3 yards out. Kiwis going strong now. The strength of this pack might do something. An escape for Great Britain. Dennis Williams knocked it forward. See the try line, the goalpost. So it's a scrum down. Right under the post, right under the Great Britain post, for that matter. First time we've had an international match here in Perth of this calibre, certainly never a World Cup before. Nash to feed and Nash to receive. I don't think but Griffin really wanted it at that moment. Charlton, once he got inside him. But it's all right. He can't be stopped. He's run out of breath. He's run out of speed. As Esker's given it to Atkinson inside. And away behind the post to John Atkinson. Beautiful try. Esker did a tremendous lot of the work, and then as he looks as if he was going to run out of it, turned inside. So he started from the Great Britain line by Paul Charlton. You saw the Great Britain line. He came away brilliantly, did Charlton. And then he turned inside. Now this was then knocked forward, and it looks as if Chris Estes was away, but it's a long way to go. And he kept going, and he got Atkinson. Atkinson had sense to turn inside, and then it was all, having taken the ball cleanly, it was all a matter going behind the post, and the kick is now being taken by John Holmes, and John Holmes kicks it. So 15 points to 3, with 18 minutes gone in the first half of the international match between Great Britain and New Zealand. It's when he rings. New Zealand to restart. It's a long, wide one. Taken well by Roy Christian. John Holmes. Great Britain coming out of this one. And dummy half, Stevenson, John Stevenson. Phil Lowe. Oh, good work by Phil Lowe. He's got Sullivan inside him. And nobody will catch Sullivan. He'll be straight in for a good try. Beautiful try made by Lowe and scored by Sullivan. So, Great Britain. So that was a very good try scored by Sullivan. As you can see, at the legs, the Great Britain captain was chasing right away. And it was all a matter of finish. And he did by that. And at that moment, Holmes kicks the goal. To make the score, Great Britain 20, New Zealand 3. Great Britain 20, New Zealand 3, halfway through the first half. 25 yards line. The knock on. Christian.
Nichols.
Nichols bursting through. And another opening here for Great Britain, who are now really pulverising. Nichols, full-back Paul Charlton going in for the 5th try. Having a great game, Charlton. Well, here it's the strength and might being shown in the repeat of almost 2 injury time. Of almost 2 earlier movements when Paul Charlton outpaces John Whittaker, who makes it away, and Charlton comes with Holmes kicking, I think, his 5th goal.
C'est un essai pour la Grande-Bretagne, marqué par l'arrière Charlton, transformé par Holmes.
That's right, Holmes, Atkinson, Nichols, Sullivan, and Holmes 5 goals. Well, there's the scoreline. Great Britain 25, Nouveau-Zélande 3. Not a particularly happy sight for the Kiwis, who really felt they were going to find a rather lethargic Britain, but not proved to be so. De Gailey was the man who was doing a lot of foraging and covering again there, but the wide's opening up and the little short passes are coming off. Everybody's prepared to have a go. Great Britain playing good football. Whittaker Owens coming to make a lot of the tackle, supported by and it's a forward pass to John Holmes, which is a relief, I'm sure, for the Kiwis. Midway between the try line and the 25-yard line. Hard is towards the port. Loose forward, Gerwig. Good run by Gurney. Roy Christian. On the right. Christian got away. Got a bit caught, but it's good for good try indeed. Excellent try by the coast to Tommy Cole. And a very good try indeed. A real beauty was that.
John Whittaker.
Well, that was a gem of a move, as you can see. Christian looked as if he was going to do it himself, but he threw in a very, very good pass indeed. And he was taken by Tommy Cole, so good, in the form of the great coaster Chang Newton and Charlie McBride. And he turned over, and the goal. And the goal, a big kick. And there you're looking at the sign, he turned over, and the try was given, quite rightly so. Okay, good. Well, the first goal, it made Great Britain 25 to New Zealand 8. Brian Lockwood. And the Phil Lowe moving the ball inside. Steve Nash. Chrissy Hesketh. And the strength of Chrissy Hesketh takes on Britain's try. So Chris Hesketh scores for Great Britain. While they stride, I will have a look at it again, because it was Chrissy Hesketh going really strong and pushing a couple of players off. And from then on, this Salford centre ex-Wiganer had great power. John Holmes kicking. Been very successful as John Holmes. Hasn't missed a kick so far, a goal kick. And that's the first one he's missed. Holmes. So the restart with points almost, well, in fact, a point a minute almost for Great Britain, 28 after 30. And with that, the 8 of the New Zealanders, well, it's been more than a point a minute. And no doubt Great Britain regarded this as a very important training run now. The short pass stuff is coming off. Another good short pass, Bob Irving of Oldham. Paul Charlton. 25-yard line. So this must seem an awful long 40 minutes for the Kiwis, who have been to France for the World Cup and are not going to have a victory, not so far as the actual match is concerned. But at least has always been very good sporting attitude amongst them, and have occasionally shone in a brilliant fashion like they did against the Australians last Wednesday. John Wilson was had quite a good tour. This was the sort of opening last year in Great Britain that Phil Orchard used to really go to town on. And just noticed John Wilson there, foot injury in that run and tackle. And it's a good kick. Very good kick by Dennis Williams, who's the master-in-chief of the kicking. Graham Cook, the team must be a little bit disappointed at this situation.
Especially after a game against Australia, Eddie, where New Zealand tackled very well. I think probably the only one that's doing a lot of covering out there at present is John Whittaker. He seems to be covering across any time anyone scores. Tony Cole, probably in the forwards, is tackling harder than anyone there. John Wilson at the present time, he had an ankle injury before he left New Zealand, but I see where it's his thigh that's a little bit injured at the present time. He's getting attention by one of our front rowers who's acting as sponge man, Mitamoe. John played the last game, which is his first test for New Zealand. He's proved to be pretty successful and a pretty good attacking back.
Well, thank you, Graham. And whilst that was also being looked at, the medical man was looking after John Walsh, who seemed to be having arm trouble, but back 13 each. And just reminding you of the score, Great Britain 28, New Zealand 8. And we're getting close to half-time, a matter of about 5 minutes or so. Phil Lowe. Johnny Holmes, rather, on one. Nice. One on the bird to Johnny. Ball lost, the referee's given a penalty, and we've got a player injured, which is Gurney. Got a chest injury. And it looks as if the sub may be coming on, and it will be Rod Walker to come on if Gurney comes on. He was injured also in the match. Same injury, was it, Graham? In Paris after the last few minutes. So in substitution can only be allowed once. So now that means the end of the match as far as in the end of the series, except of course they could be playing in England. Some club games play at Leeds, I believe. Walker was over in the international 1969, and the kicker is John Wilson. Goal kicker John Wilson. Double figures if he kicks it. No goal. Seemed rather reluctant signal somehow by the judge. Certainly a bad miss. But New Zealand are going to play in England a couple of so matches. And they, I believe one is at Leeds, and so Gurney goes off. He should be fit possibly by then for English matches, but at the moment there's the sub, which is Rod Walker. Rod Walker, one of the Canterbury players, along with Mucky Brayton. Now a centre for rugby league football out there. Used to be the Coast and Auckland were the main stage, but getting national impetus now from the great days of the early tourists. They set the scene for tours. And they came away here, not here to France, but in England in the way 1907 period. A lot of good New Zealand players have come, but it's Great Britain today who are taking the honours with a vengeance. In fact, the scoreboard boys have given up the job. But thanks, I've got some good ones keeping it for me. And Great Britain 28, New Zealand 8, and it still reigns at chase. Orchard covering, but Sullivan's trying to take him on the burst. And he did very well to take the man on the ball. Little scrum half. Brian Tracy. Oh dear, that was what they call the chap to the Barrett. And nobody could feel very, very happy about that. Mocky Brayton never got the ball really completely settled, and his final effort was to slip and roll it into touch on top of it. 25-yard line, New Zealand defending. Nash, nice slip past to Holmes. Oh, beautiful run by Holmes. But he's crossed over the line. Murray Eade, who seems to have lost his sweat bandage. I was looking for his sweat bandage there. Still got it. Getting a bit dirty, I suppose. Ty Sullivan, Great Britain captain from Hull. Todd Walker went a bit high, but the referee didn't worry about it. And Murray Eade went in to knock the ball out of players' hands, and Hesketh having a tremendous match. Sullivan. John Holmes in an unusual number 6 jersey. Christian injured on the floor. Oh, nice slip past tonight. Oh, beautiful try indeed by Stevenson. Mick Stevenson of Dewsbury. Very happy. I remember having 2 players from Stirling, father of the present New Zealand, former New Zealand scrum half, and Jack Campbell came to play at Crown Flat. And that boy there is Stevenson, who plays at Dewsbury and got his second World Cup try, and like all hookers, loves to score tries. That was a beautiful slip pass. Got Roy Christian, and it probably is coming off, but it's probably only coming off for attention. Sub, the only one more sub, which is Collicoat. John Holmes kicks. And successful. So Great Britain 33 points to New Zealand 8. So 2 minutes to half time. And then it's going to be a question of whether Great Britain are going to try. There's a scoreboard. There are 2 scoreboards, so they're making use of the big one, and the little lads are ignoring the other one. 33-8. Nicely done up in green and white, with the 2 countries' flags flying outside it. Davy Jeans. Oh, lovely lob pass. Dennis Williams. John Wilson, well taken by John Walsh. John Walsh tries to do the split time tackle as the man receiving the ball. Dennis Williams is starting to beat. He gets out of him, so it's a chance for Orchard. Oh, he's a beautiful dummy. But he's still in trouble. Or probably better to say he's still causing trouble. Rod Walker. Murray Eade. And the Britain defence has come back for the 4th tackle. Not worth having a drop at goal. John Mann with the 4th tackle coming up. There he goes on Murray and Mucky Brayton. With very, very close to half-time now, only a matter of injury time. Referee Jameau is explaining to Nash how to put the ball in. In other words, not into his own forward feet. Quite a good referee, Jameau, actually. He's going to be penalised, is Nash, I think. He is. He'd had a word with Nash about how to put it in. So, half-time with John Wilson trying to make it into double figures. 2 tries, 1 goal so far. It would be 2 tries, 2 goals. And there goes the whistle for half-time with the score Great Britain 33, New Zealand 8. And on the touchline is Des Barcher to talk to his team, and they give me the opportunity, as we're looking at New Zealand, for Graham Cooksley to give his view and summing up of the first half.
Thank you, Eddie. Well, after Australia on Wednesday night, New Zealand has proved a little bit disappointing against Australia. Our tackling was strong, perhaps our attack not as good, but no defences lapse like we've had today. Obviously, 33 points that Britain have scored has proved that they're the top team on attack, and New Zealand's tackling is a little bit weak. All the tries that have been scored by both sides have all been good tries. John Whittaker's for New Zealand and Tony Cole's were both good tries, and for Great Britain, the breaks by Hesketh, Charlton and Lowe have all been very telling. Probably in the New Zealand pack, I think that Tony Cole has been having perhaps his best game of the tour, and in the backs, perhaps John Whittaker on the wing, who on each occasion has been covering across and tackling really hard. For Great Britain, Charlton's been having a good game, Lowe in the forwards has been having a good game, and of course your captain, Sullivan, has been there all the time with Steve Nash, the halfback. Sean Holmes must have scored almost 16 points, I think. 6 goals and 1 try, which is 15 points, which is as good for any player in any international match. New Zealand's problem, I think, lies in not killing the ball in the tackle. They're going in for the tackle, and they're not killing that ball, and it's enabling Great Britain to slip that extra pass, have an extra man, and this is giving them the extra gap. I think in the second half, New Zealand's problem is going to be to tighten up these gaps that are opening up close to the forwards or even through the centre of the forwards. A good break by Roy Christian, our captain before, who put Tony Cole in for his try, and perhaps near the end of the first half there when Dennis Williams made such a good break, that should have ended in a try as well. Well, I think it's going to be an interesting second half to see whether Great Britain can extend their scoring potential or New Zealand can hold them and make a good game of it. Thank you, Eddie.
Well, thank you very much, Graham Cooksley. Sullivan wondering if he's got a broken nose. New Zealand players gathering round. We'll let you hear, I hope, the band on this beautiful sunny day in Port, just being drawn attention that Collicoat will be coming on for the second half. You can do it on the back of that. Oh, you can do it on the back of it.